truck sometimes. Like, but
Rarely. I used to live on it. And thank God I don't anymore.
Look at you, you even made it.
look at that.
See, that was impressive.
Yeah, I think that might have been less than 2 minutes.
He ran the whole way.
Hey, we're live and we can go, John.
Let him sit down. I'm good.
He's out of breath, just keep it.
He looks winded.
American athlete, triathlete.
Well, I'm sorry.
So John. The paddle and bicycle, not the runway.
Don't get one of the box after a run. You're in
Right.
trouble. I call to order for the city of Petoskey, the city council meeting for July 20th, 2026. I ask that all city council members, and if you're speaking at the mic, speak into the mic because I've had a couple complaints they can't hear us talking, so not here, up in the sky. I call to order, I ask you to rise with me to pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would our city clerk, Beck, please call roll?
Demore,
Present.
Wilmot,
Present.
Knocktrab,
Present.
Walker. Present.
Present, we have a quorum. Number 4 is consent agendas, the July 6, 2026, regular session and closed session, city council meeting minutes, as well as acknowledge the receipt of certain administrative transactions that have occurred since July 6th, 2026, as well as acknowledge the receipt of the June 2026 revenue and expenditures report, along with acknowledge the receipt of the second quarter investment report. And I take it to council for questions, comments, additions, deletions, or if not, a motion. Council, do you have anything? Mr. Wilmot,
I move for acceptance of the consent agenda.
Support.
I have a motion from Mr. Wilmot, second from Mr. Moore. I go to Ms. Beck for roll.
Wilmot,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
Crab,
Aye.
Murphy.
Yes, we have a pass of that 5-0. Next is public comment. This is your opportunity.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
They'll come back. This is your opportunity to speak to city council. You hang on. The deal is I need at least your first and last name. You wish to add more to what your title, et cetera, you may. When you come up and speak, I ask that you speak to council, not to the audience. If there is something on the agenda that is going to be discussed, if you can wait, that would probably be preferential to me or to us if possible. Otherwise, I'm going to open the floor to anybody that wishes to speak to this council. Is there anybody that wishes to speak? Sir, at the back.
It's on the agenda, so.
Can you wait or do you wish to speak and go? It's up to you. Okay, sir.
I'd like to speak on the proposal resolution granting the DTE temporary and permanent easement on the city-owned property.
That'll be coming up short order.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Actually, it's the first old business. Ma'am,
And I would like to speak also on DTE.
for sure. And more if you wish to. That's fine. DT is here present on the side to help assist with answers that we may not have or you may have questions of. Next, I go to the city manager's report. I'm going to turn it over to City Manager Horn.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Few project updates of this evening. We will be working, our contractor has worked on the dog park, getting ready for concrete later this week. We've started preparing for concrete, digging out the entrances to the dog park. So that work has transpired today. Concrete will hopefully be done later this week, similar to the bench along the bayfront that the Art Commission authorized last year. So we're doing, we're preparing that piece with a section of sidewalk along the bayfront that'll eventually stop at the new bench location. That'll kind of have the backdrop being the break wall. So kind of a nice photo opportunity for folks that are along the bayfront. That is also getting prepared this week with concrete to follow later this week. So those two things are progressing. Carnegie Building window rehabilitation has completed. We're doing our final walkthrough later this week to finalize any sort of punch list items that remain, but we're very pleased with how that looks. If you've not been by, I encourage you to stop by, take a look at it. City Hall elevator upgrades have completed. This is something that you authorized in our capital improvement plan. Really didn't have much of a choice. It was mandated for us to go through this upgrade process. So we've had Otis in the last few weeks doing the upgrade. We've completed that. We had our inspection and final testing, was that end of last week, I believe, which we passed. So we're happy to put that behind us as well. Marina repairs are also complete. This was repairs due to ice damage that we had over the winter that kind of pulled up pilings in some of our docks around the marina. So we had a contractor in just before the 4th of July, which is not a great time to do that work. As you can imagine, working around some pretty expensive boats, but the folks in the marina were very accommodating and moved things around as needed to allow us to finish these repairs. So that work is also completed. Wanted to kind of bring your attention as well. Our early voting opportunity is coming up starting July 25th. That's Saturday through August 2nd. That'll be at the VFW Post 2051 on Conway Road. This will take place each day from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. Again, starting July 25. We have been obviously pushed out absentee ballots. I think Sarah just said we had 1,343 absentee ballots that were mailed out. We're spending quite a bit of time still going back with folks. These absentee ballots don't forward, so they get returned to us, so which causes Sarah and our deputy clerk to do follow-up phone calls to make sure we can get ballots to people timely. So that's been a little time consuming for staff going through that process. We will be, the clerk's office will be open from 7 to 3 on Saturday, August 1st to issue any final and receive absentee voter ballots in advance of the August 4th primary election. So again, that would be Saturday, August 1st here at City Hall from 7 to 3 p.m. Few upcoming meetings. Tomorrow night, the Downtown Management Board will meet for their regular monthly meeting. That's Tuesday, July 21st in the community room, starting at 6 o'clock. I wanted to also remind council, due to the primary election on August 2nd, August 4th, just said that. We will move our regular meeting Monday to Thursday, August 6th. Again, as a reminder, same start time, 6 o'clock. I also want to remind council of our special CIP joint meeting with the Planning Commission. This will take place at our normal second meeting of the month, which is Monday, August 17th at 6 o'clock. But again, that meeting will be dedicated only to our special meeting with looking at CIP for the next 6-year period. So we'll have some likely some pizza or something to tide you over for a few hours as we go through this joint session. Wanted to also make council aware of our newest hire in public safety, Nicholas Newton. Nicholas was sworn in, Sarah sworn him in 2 weeks ago, I believe now. Nicholas comes to us from Greenfield, Wisconsin. He was served in the Greenfield Police Department in Greenfield, Wisconsin. He's also a commissioned officer in the United States Marine Corps Reserve. He currently serves as combat engineer platoon commander, where he is responsible for leading Marines in training and operational readiness. His Marine service has provided him leadership experience, decision-making abilities, and a commitment to excellence that will benefit, obviously, our department and the community overall. So we're thrilled to have Nicholas join us. As we hire one, unfortunately, we got news last week that one of our public safety officers is leaving us due to a relocation of her spouse. So Alexis Steele will be transitioning down into the Holland area as her husband was just recently hired by the Holland Public Safety Department. So Alexis has been a valued member of our team. Certainly wish them both well in their transitions. And then one final slide, just our next big event in town is our annual sidewalk sales coming up on July 31st and August 1st downtown. So I know our downtown staff is preparing diligently for this. Over the weekend, we had our Art in the Park. The chamber staff did a wonderful job kind of organizing that. I think that was our 40th year of having that in Pennsylvania Park. So we did see a little bit, I think there were 10 or 12 folks that pulled out due to air quality concerns, and also we had some weather in the morning that wasn't really conducive for that, but it certainly cleared up, was still well attended. There's a lot of folks around town walking through the displays. So we thank the chamber and their team for, again, organizing that opportunity for our community. Any questions for me at this time?
Council, any questions? Ms. Walker?
Thank you. Thanks, Shane. I noticed that the Howard Street reconstruction project is now off the slot of construction projects. So is that on hold until the fall, or has that been concluded? Project.
Yeah, I updated the last meeting. I didn't know if there was really enough to make another update, but that project is going from Fulton to Jennings. That last stretch is underway, trying to finish that. Our timeframe is October to get that done. So all property owners through there have been notified of the schedule. They're working on water and sewer infrastructure right now, storm as well. So that process will continue till October.
Thank you.
Mr. Knobtrop?
Yeah, Shane, thanks. I have three questions. When I saw the public service ad in the Facebook, for the city Facebook page, it reminded me that during our budget process, I thought we were in a debate for this year, whether we're going to hire another public safety officer, and we're going to wait till mid-year and make some determination. Can you give any kind of an update on that?
Nicholas was our hire to bring in that extra personnel. Unfortunately, now we'll be back to where we were with Alexis leaving. So we're trying to hire another person, but that we have filled that seat with Nicholas's position for that extra seat.
Okay. I have another process question. When we had the meeting on just the policies and procedures,
Yeah.
one of the things we agreed on, we were going to rotate the voting routine so that it isn't always the same motion, second, and then the three. When are we going to do that? Are we going to do that? What's the process?
Yeah, so we have to compile all the changes, have Laura and her team review the final document, and
Next meeting.
so it should be next meeting. We've had a lot on our plate, obviously, as we always do, but we're projecting that to be back in front of you for the next meeting for final consideration.
Okay, and then my last question, this is just my calendar, right? I had a meeting on August the 10th that was said was with a joint session, just said joint session. That's not it. We don't have a meeting on August 10th.
The 17th.
Nope.
It's the 17th.
It's the 17th,
Okay.
So hopefully that works for everybody.
Yep, it does. Okay.
I figured that was our normal meeting, like that was a meeting that we would normally be here anyway. It didn't work
For the mayor.
for Lockwood Park, I believe.
Lockwood Park picnic is Monday, August 10th.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
why
okay.
we rescheduled.
I mean, originally.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Actually, I think you could call it the ward picnic, because it's, everybody in the ward pretty much gets invited. Okay, anything else, council? Go moving on to old business. The adoption of a proposed resolution granting DTE a permanent and temporary utility easement on city-owned property on Kraus Road. Turn it over to City Manager Horn. Public will be having an opportunity to speak. We're just gonna, you will speak, you have a chance.
Yeah, so in your packet are some red line changes. We tried to incorporate your changes from our last meeting. Want to give a lot of credit to Laura and her team at Foster Swift, as well as the DTE, Tyler and Chris have been very responsive when I've emailed, they're on it and very responsive. That's really allowed us to kind of put this back in front of you for this meeting. But we tried to be responsive to your initial concerns, going back and forth from our legal staff to DTE. There were things that wasn't always agreed to, so we went back and forth a few times. So this is kind of the final document for your consideration. Obviously, we've changed out the compensation as was discussed at the last meeting as well. So Laura is on, the DTE team is here. So if we want to work through any remaining concerns or issues, we're certainly ready and capable to do that.
You saw in red the changes that they proposed. Do you have any questions about those at this time, council? Mr. Moore.
So it isn't a question, but under additional workspace, first of all, I appreciate everything that was done here. It is very responsive to a number of the concerns that I raised. Under additional workspace, the final sentence, this temporary additional workspace expires when a pipeline commences operations on or in the easement. It was my recollection last time when you gentlemen were here that you proposed something like, to the extent that the temporary additional workspace would expire when the initial, what's deemed initial construction now expires. So I was just, again, this is just my perspective. It may not be the perspective of others, and Laura's listening. But to me, that seemed like a more clear delineation of when that temporary additional workspace would end, as opposed to when the pipeline commences operations. So again, I would let others speak to that as well. If it's only my concern and Laura disagrees, then the dialogue's not required.
Could you respond to that?
Yes, of course. So the reason why, I'm sorry, Tyler Remington, Senior Land Rep for DT. So my concern with the language of when construction is complete, this is almost a 14-mile pipeline. So we might have the construction complete on you all before, a year before the entire construction is complete. At the end of construction of the pipeline, we have to test it. If we have any issues with the pipeline, we have to get back out there, dig it up, repair the issues, whether it's a weak weld or, I don't know, wrapping, anything. So that's why I wanted to keep the temporary workspace active until the pipeline actually is in operation, because I didn't want to kind of pigeonhole ourselves into a situation where we'd have to come back and try to ask for temporary workspace again once the pipeline's actually constructed.
Do you have any estimate of time from start of construction to when those pipelines would be, when pipeline operations would commence?
Yeah, so, Chris Hackbarth, Regional Manager for DT. Yes, I think it is, we've testified before the various townships in the county. The expectation is this project, we will start acquiring equipment and getting prepped with our laydown yard this fall. And then our goal is to have first quarter of 28 restoration complete. So the construction activities, again, all pending weather and things that are uncovered when you dig underground. Is through the course of 2027, with that first quarter of 28 being the final restoration work being done. And I think that's another piece of this too, in addition to the testing after construction. coming in and doing that restoration work, we call it soft surface restoration, the planting of grass seed or, pollinators, getting the ground re-leveled, all of that work being done. When is that taking place? What is construction? What is that term? Is that the whole project construction? Is it just this parcel? So I think, again, if we have this, there is a very definitive point in time when the pipeline goes into service. And that was there's an endpoint at that point.
I guess my concern is it gives a lot of discretion between end of construction and pipeline operations. And so I understand what you're saying in terms of construction things and needing to be sure it's operating. But are there other reasons that commencement of the pipeline could be extended for significant periods of time, allowing that temporary workspace to?
So your concern would be if we were to not have it go into service beyond first quarter of 28.
There you go,
and-
5 years later.
Right. There's no way we would be allowed to recover those costs from the Michigan Public Service Commission for our investment if it were go on that long. And we would have serious problems internally if that were the case. So no, I don't anticipate a situation where when we make this level of investment, we're going to stick to that timeline. And we're very strict on our contractors as well.
Well, and also keep in mind that we're putting in this pipeline so that we can test our existing pipeline because we're being put under pressure to make sure that's tested so that we can maintain it. The existing pipeline's old. So that's our biggest goal here is to get that pipeline tested, which we can't test that until this new pipeline is in operation. Because again, that's the whole purpose for the new pipeline, right, is to maintain gas service to the city of Petoskey.
Okay, I appreciate your responses. Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Wilmot?
Would you be more comfortable with a time specific end date, like December of 28?
Unfortunately, I can't do that. I've worked on too many big pipeline projects to put an actual end date. I mean, we still have to go through so many processes before we can start construction. To be honest with you, I think construction might be delayed a little bit. I don't think we'll be starting in the beginning of 2027. So again, if I put an end date on there, we're going to be right back here later on asking for additional time.
It's not all bad, but city attorney.
Yes.
Laura, could you weigh in on this? Do you see some way that do you feel that city needs to be protected on this, or are you comfortable with this and feel we should continue as is?
So I'm reviewed as well as my real estate law partner. Am I coming through sound-wise okay tonight?
Yes.
Great. And we are comfortable with this language because it is actually a brighter line measure of when it expires. Construction ending is actually, I think, a little bit more vague potentially because sort of to DTE's point, but there can always be needs for additional construction. Even if we think construction is done, they may not think construction is done. But once it's operational, that's an objective fact. That gives us that timeline. So our team was comfortable with this language.
Thank you. Also, any other questions? Mr. Moore?
A same question to you, Laura. As far as this assignment and successor provision, you're comfortable or you recommend the language here that limits these assignment approvals to, it reads to me like it's limited to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission and the Michigan Public Service Commission. You feel that that's broad enough?
Language that was negotiated, if we're talking about the same provision in terms of, council originally wanting a lot of control over the assignment. We think we found a happy medium with that language in the agreement that is going to protect the city. This can't be assigned to, John Doe down the street. So we are comfortable and recommend this language.
Thank you. Council, anything else? I asked public if you have a comment that you would like, you guys could have a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who would like to speak to council first? Come up forward, sir. Come on. Your full name. You don't have to say anything other than that address unless you wish to. Number two, it's to council and not to the audience. You have time, please. push the button, so it is green. Yes, it is. You're all set.
Sorry, how many minutes? We'll have to talk.
5 minutes.
Council members, thank you for bringing me along and giving us opportunity to speak publicly. My name is Mark Colbita. I sent you several emails today regarding some photos that I took of surrounding areas that are having similar construction zones and potentially what this pipeline project might look like at the start of work, at the middle, and at a mature state based on the lands out by King Road and the Crease location. I had a chance to review your contract, and although I'm not a lawyer, I was asked some questions around, and I just thought that the contract placed your rights in the back seat. I thought the terms somewhat were wide open and poorly defined, leaving the repair details to a verbal agreement that maybe there'd be no obligation by DTE to actually complete. At the minutes of the or the rewatch of the last week's, 2 weeks ago meeting, there was a discussion about having the bicycle friendly and red roses and a happy drive through your property. I saw that there was no terms to discuss the paving or how this is actually going to look and if people were going to be safe or want to ride over that pipeline. There was a limited amount of information about the open space creation and the tree removal. I did see here that, no offense to your lawyer, but I did think that that contract might have had some holes. I don't know if it mentioned that there'd be a possibility of a second pipeline in the future or exactly what the terms would be for drilling wells or for having expansion paths in the future for people interested in the event that the city was to ever sell that property. So I thought they should consult with an eminent domain and land condemnation specialist. If you guys are familiar with I-75, as you drive southbound through Flint, is a 3-lane highway in each direction with a central cement wall and paved shoulders. That's about what a 75-foot wide swath will look like. And that's a huge difference from the standard walking and bicycle trails that, new people would envision perhaps, or that many of our green spaces have. Once granted, by my understanding, is you're not allowed to place any future well taps for an additional 300 feet on either side of this 50-foot easement. And we'll find out more, I suppose, later on that. And then if they decided to add a second pipeline in 10 years, would that require another 25-foot work zone? Would that temporary space then become a permanent space and another 25 feet taken? And then would there be any additional reimbursement for that? So I guess the law says DTE is allowed to exploit this deal to the maximum extent allowed, but unforeseeable future construction or ideas could change in the future. You guys have a fiduciary responsibility to the citizens of Petoskey to make sure that you're making the best decisions for the use of city land. This is a permanent submission. The public trust requires you to consider all options for the future use of the property. Considering the Petoskey zip code is one of the most expensive in the state and country right now, I think your settlement value of $20,000 is significantly less than the fair market valuation, not just for the land, but for the future value of the land, as well as the trees that might sit upon it. They're obligated to pay you for the value of the trees and some cleanup. You could worry about the stumps. Most likely you'll have snowmobile people and other people trying to hit you. You hit a stump with a snowmobile at 30 miles an hour, you're going to the hospital. That's going to hurt. It appeared your parcel had a significant vertical elevation. Clear cutting that path could lead to significant erosion with heavy rains or snow melt. There could be deep craters, and since the pipe's 36 inches deep, some of it could be exposed on the top side. So hopefully that'll be addressed. For full disclosure, I'm one of the 85 to 100 people affected along the 14-mile path. Last fall, a landman came to my house, knocked on the door, said he had a great deal for me for the greater good. And by spring, I discovered that many of those things represented were not actually accurate. I was told that the MPSC approval was already done and in the books. This was not true, that Eagle had rubber stamped it. I called Eagle in Gaylord and spoke to several people. They had never heard of it, that the Little Traverse Conservancy was on board, as part of it goes through the Hankins Glen Conservancy just down the street from my house, which is not true. I was told that high-powered rifle use was not a big problem because hunters hunt across these all across the state. However, by federal law, that could make me a terrorist for attacking a pipeline. If I should accidentally be hunting deer and strike that pipeline, it'd be very expensive repairs. I was told I was one of the last holdouts of 7 people that I've known, only one had signed, and that was under duress as shady conditions. I was told DE paid top dollars. The offer made to me was insulting, and I was told, already threatened by the Petoskey Snowmobile Club, that they wanted to have this too. So here I am left, you guys will be left with a new trail, and I'll be left holding the bag. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate this opportunity to share our democracy.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Please come forward. Sure.
Hi, my name is Brenda Kobita. I'm Mark's wife. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I live in Bear Creek Township and asking you to vote no, please, on the adoption of a proposed resolution allowing DTE to place a pipeline on city property. Allowing DTE to use city property will greenlight progression onto and through our land in Bear Creek Township. This resolution affects at least 85 private land owners and the Hankins Glen Conservancy near Hogue Road. This DTE project is not, or seems to me to be not consistent with the city's commitment to conservation. Allowing DTE to clear a 75-foot wide path is not a sound decision in the name of promoting ecotourism. And I think I heard that mentioned at your last meeting, where people come here because they want to get away from the noise and experience nature and don't necessarily need a 75-foot wide trail to do that. My children and I are members of the Sault Ste. Marie tribe of Chippewa Indians. I'm an elder in the tribe. I speak for my children, myself, and my ancestors. We are Anishinaabeg, the original people. We don't necessarily object to the pipeline being built. We do object to the process of building it and destruction that will occur on our land. The pipeline's footprint will devastate the ecological and spiritual balance that exists in nature. Our land has been blessed by the Creator. I've lived on this land in Petoskey for 26 years. We have living creek waters that join the headwaters of the Bear River, then eventually empty into Lake Michigan right here. Water is sacred to the Chippewa. Our property is home to species of owl, diverse, and this is just my land, diverse species of birds, deer, bear, coyote, fox, porcupine, squirrels, salamanders, raccoon, snakes, skunks, chipmunks, and rabbits. And I've seen these all. We have a little family of foxes now that live on our land. How are they going to be affected by this? We're stewards of their homes, and we do our best to maintain it. My husband and I do so much outside, always trying to maintain the property. This will be destroyed along with hundreds of trees, including stands of maple trees that historically have been considered sacred to my family and my tribe. I grew up making maple syrup with my grandfather, and these trees will be destroyed. And so please vote no, or at least consider voting no on adopting the proposed DTE pipeline project. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Sir, did you want to speak? Okay. Just want to make sure before I stop it. Does anybody in the public online wish to speak? There being none. I go back to city council for discussion or a possible motion. Ms. Demore.
So one question that I have, and this is for people that know more about trees than I do. I mean, last time when we talked about the amount of damages, we really didn't, I don't know the number of trees involved here. So I don't really know. I know that Shane sort of assigned these dollars.
I don't know if Shane assigned them.
Well, that's my understanding.
You pick those numbers?
Well, no.
I just used what dollar amounts you all wanted price per acre, and then the balance is in damages.
Well, let me clarify. What I meant was you kind of assigned the 5,000 per acre fair and the 1,000 per temporary workspace, and then the balance to trees. And I don't know if that's appropriate or not. I don't know what is reimbursed per tree. I don't know how many trees there are. So I don't know.
May I?
Please.
Clarify.
Tyler, yes.
So if you look on your exhibit A, the one that shows the aerial overview, you'll see that in this area, it's, I mean, yeah, there are trees out there, but it's not a heavily forested area by any means. It would be the second page of your exhibit A. I can, it would look like this with an aerial overview. So it shows the center line of pipe, the limits of the permanent and temporary workspace. And you can see that, I mean, again, yes, there are trees out there, but it's not heavily forested by any means. And also keep in mind that it will be 50-foot permanent, not 75. So in that additional 25 feet, you can plant all the trees you like out there.
This is what you're talking about?
There you go. Yeah, that's the one. And also, just to clarify, not that I think that you all are going to allow anyone to be hunting out there on this, but we do allow people to hunt. When I worked out in Southwest Pennsylvania, I had a guy, he wanted us to reseed with a special, he went to, it was a college in West Virginia, right across the state line, and had their, some lab engineer a special feed or a special seed mix that would bring in wildlife. A couple years later, he sent me a picture of a huge trophy buck that he shot out there. Now, I won't agree to that ever again because of what it cost us to reseed. He had a mix that was like certain percentage of clover, certain percentage of this, or, I mean, it was just crazy. But we do allow people to hunt out there. The pipeline's buried 36 inches deep. And I've not ever myself, I'm not saying it's never happened, but I've never heard of anyone striking a pipeline with a rifle bullet. So if those are valid concerns, I just wanted to kind of comment as to that.
I think Mr. Knobtrop had his hand up. Sorry, I'm going to call him Mr. Knobtrop.
I just, what I recalled, I thought you would, so there's no tree replacement. If you take any down, there's no tree replacement anywhere. Is that right? Or I was thinking that.
We don't replace the trees ourselves. That's why we pay you for tree damage
Okay,
and tree loss.
but you do put back, you do grass.
And yes, thank you for bringing
What
that up.
do you do and to kind of put it back the way it was?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. So I wanted to touch on that as well. Under the damages and restoration clause, it clearly states that we will pay for damages and also restore it back to its original condition or as reasonably practical. The reason why reasonably practical is in there is because we take down a 100-foot-year-old maple tree, we can't replace that. And so that's why we have is reasonable practical. But we reseed it, we put down straw to make sure the seed will take. I mean, again, we can double ditch it for farm fields to where, we take the topsoil off and subsoil out and, that way farmers can replant it and regrow crops and everything else. So we do restore it.
Mr. Wilmot.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. So the 50-foot wide swath where the pipeline goes, you're only replacing grasses.
Correct.
So any discussion of replacement of trees, which is our responsibility, would be on the additional easement, which is the workspace.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, we can't allow trees within that 50-foot wide swath because naturally tree roots.
Understood.
Okay.
It just, with the conversation that was going on, I just wanted to make sure it was clear for the record that the 50-foot swath will be permanently grasses or small brush or whatever, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, but any replacement of trees will be the responsibility of the property owner on the workspace
Correct.
Given the damages paid.
at the end of the easement or the commencement of the.
Yes, that's correct. And then also just to address another concern, if there are any adjacent landowners that are worried about having a snowmobile path now cutting through their property as well as this, we've offered that we can put up gates. The gates we use are typically steel pipes with a really thick chain. What we do is we make the chain meet the well on the end, and we have a lock. We provide them a lock. We daisy chain those together so we have access if we ever need it, then they have access as well. But they're thick chains that can't just be cut with bolt cutters for snowmobilers to keep down a path.
Another question.
Please.
This is for council or city manager. We don't currently have any restriction on snowmobiles on this property, do we?
No, I would say no. No, we don't. Section.
Thank you.
Oh, and also, we do grind all the stumps that are in the 50-foot wide easement areas. So I mean, they will be either ground or removed. I mean, obviously, when you're trenching through, you'll remove stumps if you have to remove trees, but
Only for the 50-foot wide area, not for the area that is used as workspace?
that's correct. We can grind those if needed. On
If
the,
needed, what do you mean if needed?
well, in the temporary workspace, typically we don't grind the stumps. I mean, I don't believe we do because typically people want to replant out there anyway, so you wouldn't have a whole lot of snowmobile traffic or ATV traffic going through there.
We're not farmers and we're not planning on replanting with grains and crops and stuff, okay, so.
What's that? I'm sorry.
We're not gonna be replanting
Oh,
with
right.
grains and we're not farming this area. so-
Correct.
But what he's just said is, if there are stumps in the workspace that will be returned to us, they don't necessarily grind those stumps. Those are left.
But in this provision, it says that you guys shall replace the damaged area to its original condition as reasonably practicable. So wouldn't that include grinding those stumps down to the ground? I would think so.
Well, I mean, it's original condition, had trees out there, not stumps.
Can't replace
Or-
those.
What's that? I know, correct. But I mean, that's why it says it's reasonably practical. Again, if you all want the stumps ground in the temporary workspace, I'll be more than happy to put that in there. Especially given the amount of trees that are out there. I don't think that'd be an issue at all.
The lack of, yeah.
I think they should be ground, not because I'll tell you, then that means you're not coming in with heavy equipment, taking out trees again. Because as you know, if you leave a stump, you end up north. I don't know if you know, but if you leave a stump, new trees grow off of a stump, so.
Well, but granted though, in the temporary workspace, after commencement of operations for the pipeline, we won't have access to that temporary workspace anyway. So if new trees grew, I mean, that'd actually be to your all's benefit because now you have trees where there used to be trees.
You're good with that, guys?
With what? Sorry.
Are you okay with them not grinding the work area? Mr. Knobtrop?
No, I guess, having seen what stumps look like, I don't know, see, part of this is I don't have a direct feel as to what it looks, how many trees are there to begin with. Sounds like there's not many, but it seems to me that all tree stumps ought to be removed, whether it's in the workspace area or not. Just, it's gonna look unsightly. It seems more reasonable to me to get rid of them. And so then you don't have a hazard, you don't have any risk at all.
And we can certainly do that.
Is that what you wish, council? Yes. You got a response on that one. Next, anything else that you wish to respond to of the audience comments?
No, not that I can think of. I mean, unless you all had any questions that were raised during the,
Lindsay, Ms. Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. Could you give us, and do you have the picture of where the connection to TransCanada's pipeline will be along 75 and what bodies of water it traverses until it reaches its destination of the city of Petoskey?
Yeah.
I have the. If I have the sign page. That end, let me see.
yeah, I'm not sure about what bodies of water it crosses. We've done all of our environmental surveys on that, to identify those.
Well, a person in the audience mentioned some of the tributaries of the Bear River. So I had heard that as well, that it's crossing several Bear River.
Anytime we do a pipeline, there are the state and federal regs that we have to go underneath. We've done that, looking, just, I think I mentioned the last time when we did the Pine River, we worked with Eagle and the federal government, especially since that's a navigable waterway. We went down, I think 120 feet below. So way below. There was never any interaction with the water surface, the waters. That's how we operate with these pipelines. We don't want them impacted. We don't want them in the water. So we go below. I can find. I don't know that I.
So that would be the only kind of exception would be
If we're crossing a waterway.
crossing water, but you're.
We would go under.
Be 6 inches buried underneath.
It may even be further.
subsurface
It may even be further under the,
Okay,
Yeah, it's like, for instance, even where we're bore drilling roads, we go deeper than 36 inches. That's why the easement states a minimum of 36 inches in depth, which is your typical plow depth.
okay.
so I think when in the, if I might approach. In this, what you got in your
Oh, last.
first meeting that we were not.
Yeah.
at, June meeting,
Mhm.
you got the slide presentation. So this is the station that is on Resort Pike Road, the existing one.
Okay.
So it's kind of a look and feel for it. And then the third page here, this slide here is the layout for the Mitchell Road interconnect. I don't have the, we could, I could talk with you afterwards and show you where it is, the specific location on Google Earth.
Mhm.
I don't know that we even have a design drawing done for it yet. I don't know, we're at that stage, but
Okay.
that's that location.
So just entertain me thought. So it starts connecting at 75, I'm assuming like on
It's-
the east side or on the west side of 75. And so it's traversing, I'm assuming beyond Emmett County, there's some other counties in.
It's not all the way over next to I-75.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't go that far.
Okay, so where is its place of
It's in
origin?
Springvale Township,
Springvale, okay,
Yes.
and east, and off of East Mitchell.
correct.
Okay,
And this will have.
got it. So it's starting there and then it's ending at the Resort Pike Station.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Anything else, Counselor? There's an entertainment for a motion. You have the opportunity to make a motion. Mr. Knobtrop.
You know, and I would be happy to, I think these guys have done a pretty good job of accommodating our request. I believe they're going to do it professionally and with all the concerns that have been raised. I think it's fine, and I'd be happy to make the motion to approve the enclosed easement agreement that has been updated by Laura with the modification added with the grinding the trunks, tree stumps everywhere.
Do I have a second?
second?
Knobtrop. I have a motion from Mr. Knobtrop, a second from Mr., I'm sorry, Wilmot. Any other discussion, council? I go to Ms. Beck for roll.
Knoctrob,
Aye.
Wilmot.
Aye.
Demore,
Aye.
Walker,
No,
Murphy.
Aye. Motion passes 4-1. Next on the agenda is the second reading and possible adoption of a proposed ordinance amending chapter 15 concerning short-term rentals. I'd turn it over to City Manager Horn.
Yes, we had a kind of a first reading, a quick one last meeting. Can take a little bit more time walking through the proposed changes, the memo. I apologize for the memo location in your packet. When we printed that off and got it to you, it looked like the memo was in the back of the document. So there is a memo in there. It's page 95, but it should be obviously where we're talking about with the short-term rental. But Sarah kind of put the memo together that outlines the proposed amendments to the document. We have gone back and forth with our legal folks, with Laura and her team, making a final tweak. Even this morning, there was a slight modification that I think would like to talk about this evening on section 15.4.9, which is page 59 of the document. There was a question that came up about the transfer of licenses and you know, how that looked. So that was slightly revised based on feedback. Obviously, we can talk about that. You all can talk about that tonight to see if that's something you want to proceed with, or if you're fine with how it's put together, currently. And then again, section 15.5, the waiting list, section, which is page 59, was also slightly modified, adding, the underlined language, in the, proposal. So I guess at this point, we can open things up for discussion with staff and with our city attorney on any sort of modifications you'd like to see to this document, any sort of changes to, in your mind, tighten things up even more. But the whole idea of this change initially was to really more of a housekeeping effort to tighten things up. We were getting some folks that were advertising short-term rentals that weren't licensed. So to really, again, tighten it up, we wanted that modification, and why we had the ordinance open for review. Foster Swift, had a fresh set of eyes on it. They weren't involved initially when we put this together. So having their, a new set of eyes on things, they recommended some changes as well. So this kind of encompassed those changes, at least at this point. So happy to entertain questions, feedback.
Council, questions, comments? Mr. Moore?
So I just made I had two concerns, and one was on page 59, section 9. And it was just that very last sentence, which to me lacked clarity about what happened upon the transfer of property. And so council redrafted that to make it clearer. I don't know if you guys have the attachment that was provided by the city manager still today. But it just made it clearer by saying upon transfer of the property, licensure lapsed, or revocation of the short-term rental license for property authorized under this subsection, the license shall be extinguished, at which point the property is no longer available for short-term rental licensing. So to me, that change that they made it much more clear than what currently exists. And then on the same page 59, under section 15.5, there was just an addition in line 3 that said a licensee who loses the license or fails to timely renew its license will be placed at the bottom of the waiting list upon the filing of an application, except as set forth in that section we just read, because in that section, the license would be extinguished. So those were the two changes that I suggested or requested, and as far as the way they're drafted, I think they are a big improvement, so. I don't know if Laura wants to speak to that or not.
I'll ask her. Laura, do you have a comment for that?
We appreciated the feedback and glad we could address it with those updates.
Other questions? Mr. Wilmot?
This being the second reading of this proposed ordinance change, I move that for acceptance of the ordinance as recently modified and edited.
I'll second the motion, Mayor.
Thank you. Council, other discussions? Does the public wish to weigh in on this? There being none. I go to Ms. Beck for roll.
Wilmot,
Yes.
Walker. Aye. Moore,
Aye.
Nachtrab,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Next, second reading, possible adoption of proposed ordinance amending chapter 21 to authorize the immobilization and towing of vehicles for public safety and unpaid parking violations. Turn it over to you, Manager Ford, for this.
Yeah, so this is back on for second reading. We had a little bit of a pause, trying to think when we had this back on. First time, June, June-ish. So this has been discussed, obviously, for first reading. This is a second reading. kind of getting your feedback, looking at a kind of a two-prong approach with immobilization, using a boot and towing, if you will. So the parking team is here, Amy and April, certainly available to answer your questions that you may have this evening, but this is something obviously that's been on our radar for quite a while. I think they've gone back and revised things, tried to make it as streamlined, as simple as possible, but certainly if there's other things that are not clearly delineated, we certainly are ready to make any sort of tweaks as needed.
Council, do you have any questions or comments or changes or deletions? Mr. Wilmot?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Oh, well, I'll get back to the process that you all developed. I really appreciate. But that'll probably require an exchange with the staff that's here. In this proposed ordinance changes on section 1, number 3 violations B, it says a vehicle parked in violation.
People get to it. please.
Yes. Where is it? This page 65 in your packet.
Okay, now what section?
This is section 1,
1.
number 3 violations B, letter B. A vehicle parked in violation of this section may be towed to the City of Petoskey or its designee at the expense of as necessary for the interest of public safety, because of fire, flood, storm, snow, natural man-made disaster, or other emergency. So this, is the intention here to extend beyond just violations? What is the reason for this language?
I believe that's the first section that's public safety. It's not in regards to the,
I think that's existing language, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's been in there.
Oh, that's existing language?
Mhm.
Okay. That was question number 1. Thank you for the clarification. In terms of the process that you came up with, which I really appreciate, the flow chart that you gave, yes, exactly. Beginning at the top, license plate has 6 unpaid tickets totaling 100. The vehicle owner gets a letter,
Mhm.
but not until 250 does something get actually attached to the vehicle.
Correct.
Can you explain the rationale for that process?
At $100, then we find the license plate, the registration, the owner, and then we mail it to them. At $250, then we'll find that they're,
I understand that, but what is the rationale for not putting something on the vehicle sooner?
at $100?
Yeah.
We could.
To forewarn them that at 250, they're in jeopardy
It will have that on the letter.
On
that
the
gets
letter, yeah.
Mailed to them.
on the letter, but
Mhm.
the vehicle operator and the owner of the vehicle may be
Different.
different.
Mhm.
I was just, for your consideration, it
Mhm.
doesn't really affect what we're doing here tonight. but
Okay.
For your consideration, I would consider communicating through the vehicle at an earlier stage.
Okay.
Those
Could
are
I
my
just-
questions.
Can I
comments.
possibly jump in?
Yeah, sure.
Please, Laura.
So I just want to make sure that we're clear. The proposed ordinance would amend that 21-39-3. And I think that is new language. That's why it's in this ordinance. The existing subsection 3 only dealt with civil, and if there was a violation and a civil infraction. This makes clear that if there's an emergency and the city needs to tow it, it has the authority to do that.
You didn't have that.
So I guess that leaves the question of why do we need that language? I mean, I don't particularly object to it, but it doesn't really address the violation situation.
Do we not have
That's
something,
in a
Laura, to
different
address
concern.
that at this point? Is this, if there's a fire downtown and there's a car sitting there, I take it does this enable them to actually move the car?
Right.
Tow the vehicle.
But couldn't they anyway, or is this just a safeguard to ensure letting the public know that that could happen?
Don't believe the prior ordinance provided for that. So this does make it clear within this that there's more, yes, the tickets are one reason you might get towed, but if we need to move your car due to an emergency, we're going to tow it on that basis as well, if necessary.
Good, counsel?
Yeah.
Other questions? Mr. Demore?
Thank you. So my overarching question is why we need to have the 100 and the 250 thing. Why couldn't this just be more streamlined even still? Like, why do we need 2 levels?
I think, well, the first level is a person receiving the citation on their vehicle, that they've been in violation, they owe a certain amount of money. Then the second one, when they reach 100, it's just a reminder, it could have sat somewhere, it could have blown off in the wind multiple times. This is a reminder that, hey, you have an outstanding balance. And then at the point of an escalation of $250 is to say, okay, this is serious, you need to pay. You owe the city money.
But under this chart, you provide for vehicle immobilization or towing with the $100 violation if payment's not completed within 10 days. So you have the same tools at your, available.
Mhm.
That's what it's unclear to me. It just seems like this makes it more complex. Maybe it's just me.
Can I add a quick comment?
Please.
Myself?
Please.
The ordinance says, the revised ordinance says, $100 we can tow,
Mhm.
period.
Yeah.
The process is different. The process is what they're gonna follow internally. The ordinance says, if you got $100 in tickets, we can tow you.
Right, so why do we need the 250 level?
Because of a courtesy for the people they're trying to communicate with.
Mhm.
They're communicating with them initially theoretically by a letter sent. Anyway, it's fine if it just seems complex to me beyond necessity. And then my next question is, at the intersection here, where if payment is not made within 48 hours, you have 2 options, you immobilize or you tow.
Mhm.
What's the criteria there for which direction you go?
I think at this point, it would be working with the city manager to determine if we wanted to go with the immobilization or with towing of the vehicle. So at some point, as we all transition and change roles, that they will have a future strategic direction open to whatever tools are enabled at that point.
So if the immobilization route is undertaken, reading this, I'm understanding that the car is immobilized in its location for 3 days,
Mhm.
72 hours.
Mhm.
I gotta say, that makes absolutely no sense to me, respectfully.
Mhm.
The next resolution on page 68, part of that resolution says, the fee structure is designed to encourage turnover parking on streets and heavily used parking lots. Yet here, we're engaging a process to immobilize vehicles in place for 3 days, which seems inopposite to me to the goal of the fee structure. So on that basis, and on the basis that there were a tourist town, I just think this immobilization is ill-advised. And I won't support this if immobilization is left in it. Thank you.
I think that mobilization can be an education for all the other drivers in Petoskey or coming to town. If you see one, you go, I guess I better make sure I put money in the meters. I guess I better pay my tickets. Sadly that it is. I have a question for the city attorney. Do we need certified or registered or et cetera letters when we send this stuff out? Does the court accept a letter that is for evidence that is just a letter sent? Or does it need some kind of documentation?
Due process of law. So as long as we are providing notice, I'm not aware of anything that requires certified mail. Internally, we've discussed different notification measures. Our goal is always going to be to make sure that the title owner has actual notice of the issue, both for due process and so they can pay the parking fines.
Yep. I just wanted to check with you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yep, thank you.
Mr. Wilmot.
Yeah, again, I wanted to clarify that the ordinance changes that we're being asked to review and vote on in the second reading, potentially vote on for the second reading, really have nothing to do with this process. I mean, obviously the process, but what it says here is it says section 2140, towing and immobilization authority. It simply says that after $100 of tickets, the vehicle will be towed at the expense of the last titled owner. So we don't actually, other than the word immobilization in the title, there's no specific process in this ordinance. It's a different subject. They're just asking for authority in the ordinance to tow. So if we want to debate the process that they're going to use to enforce the ordinance, it's a separate discussion. That's not what we're being asked to do tonight.
Mr. Moore, any other comments, questions?
I respectfully disagree with you, but we won't go there. How's that?
No, you can disagree.
I'm fine with having a discussion. I would rather have discussion than somebody not being happy that things were not above board.
So
Again, I will just repeat what I said. I don't understand the necessity of this second level. You're absolutely right, Mr. Wilmot. In the ordinance, it addresses the $100 level. Hence my question, why establish a procedure that includes what's included in the ordinance, but then includes a whole nother level of, I mean, to me, the process should align with the ordinance. So I don't know why we need, the 250, or you could just do it at 250 or 100. That's my perspective on this. But overall, either way, I just don't support immobilization. And did I understand you correctly to say that the city manager would be deciding if a vehicle would be immobilized or towed?
I think we would work with the city manager to determine if we want to go with towing versus immobilization.
Generally
So,
speaking?
in general speaking, yeah. At this point, we've talked about it, is that we are a tourist town, and I know there was a lot of discussion about parking wars and the booting, but people come up here for the magic of our community. I don't necessarily think that in the summer, people want to see a boot on a car. And we do, every parking space is absolute gold right now. If anyone's tried to park downtown or was enjoying Saturday in the park, parking is really, really critical. We would not boot a car at that time.
So based on that, why do we have immobilization in here for the reasons you just provided? That would be my question.
But and again, it's strategically speaking, if there's new technology that enables us to immobilize a vehicle without having a visible thing on it, say you can disable it, electronically. I'm not sure. But the way technology is advancing, it could be something that simple. So instead of putting a boot on it, it's just an electronic tracker that disables the vehicle until they've paid the tickets.
I'd like that to come before city council before that's initiated.
That's not what you're anticipating now.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Knobtrop.
To kind of go along with what you guys are talking about, this isn't the first time we have an ordinance that we don't exactly follow. And we have some selected enforcement, we might have some education. So it sounds to me like what Charlie's saying, what we can do is in the ordinance. What these guys are trying to do is develop a policy for education, maybe, that blows away, give them a little bit of leeway. So it seems to me it's not that much different than other things we do around here. I do want to make a comment because of I discounted the tourism and the optics. And I agree with what the mayor said. It's a deterrent also. But literally as I was reading this and preparing for the meeting, I got a text from someone who sets up tours, golf trips for Northern Michigan. And he had 24 people here last week. And they had a blast, and I helped facilitate some tea times at the Bay Harbor Golf Club. That's how I was connected. But he gave me feedback and said, Harbor Springs is wonderful. No parking fees. It was great. It was a lovely town. The feedback he got from Petoskey, why the heck do they charge for parking? And all these empty buildings are not, you can't even shop well. And so the optics of this of our downtown is an important thing. And I'm supporting this whole thing, but it hit me how important optics, getting our downtown buildings rented is a very important thing. When you get 24 people from Florida, that's their only comment back on their time at Petoskey. It's an interesting
Well, that's
thing.
really disappointing that they came to Petoskey and that's all they got was the negativeness.
It
That's,
does.
I guess,
It is.
maybe they came to the wrong place, but I think the city offers a hell of a lot of stuff for 24 golfers. And I'm sorry, but I don't know what they want. Go to any other city in Michigan and you have parking meters. Okay, so Harbor Springs doesn't. Charlevoix now does. You realize that they just now put in meters. This is a part of the way the world operates. This is how we pay for our parking lots. This is how we repave them. This is the curb and gutter. This is how we get cars to move from one time to another. And if you don't have a credit card and can't utilize a credit card to pay for the meter, then you probably, I don't know how you can pay for golf if you can't use a credit card to pay for parking meters.
I don't think you should get so defensive. I'm just providing you some feedback. These are guys they loved their dinner downtown. They went to the feedback. I'm just giving you feedback. You shouldn't get so defensive when somebody gives feedback like that.
I find it as negative feedback, which I guess I'm looking at the positive side, I guess, of life. Mr. Wilmot.
Yeah, I'd like to move this forward as best we can, because I don't think there's any underlying objection to the changes that have been requested in the ordinance itself. The objections that have been registered have been with the underlying process that's been described in terms of implementation and communication. So the next opportunity, I mean, we could send this back for a redo of the process and an elimination of immobilization as an option out of the process. Immobilization, even though the word immobilization appears in the title, it isn't in the ordinance. And so
It is, excuse me, it is in the ordinance.
the vehicle will be towed.
2140, the city manager or her designee may authorize the immobilization.
I stand corrected, sorry. But if we eliminated immobilization and just put it for towing, can we get this thing through? Because the truth of the matter is, the next opportunity for us to discuss this will not be until September.
If the question is for me, I'll support this if immobilization is removed from the ordinance.
And then we could have further discussions at some point in the future with regard to the process, if that is the request of council in terms of the process that the parking authority uses, and any future immobilization techniques that may be warranted for further discussion.
Ms. Walker, could you weigh in on this?
Sure. I've always been a firm supporter of the downtown parking authority and the intention of getting all of these chronic violators to conform or pay their past due parking tickets. I know that then in the background, it's a communication issue directly with the drivers that are violating. And I'm hopeful that the legal strategy, in addition to the revampment of the ordinance itself, can get us to that better position. I don't need to know the legal strategy, but I feel like that is an essential component to following up on all the court cases and really getting this under control. If you have over $300,000 and past due parking tickets. That's really concerning to me, and I would love to see these really high ticket, numbers come down, and it sounds like this is the closest like path we have, and so I am in support of passing this second reading and taking action on this tonight. And also, we're gonna have a discussion about the 1 month parking citation late fee reprieve, which I also think is like putting your best face forward, parking department, and like, we really want to work with folks. We're gonna give you a month. Take advantage of this opportunity and let's get all this past due stuff paid. So I am very much in support of moving forward with this to allow the parking department to really get these tickets paid and things moving forward. So thanks.
Mr. Knobtrop.
I completely agree with what Lindsay said for all the reasons she said it. So it doesn't matter to me, I like the deterrence with that lockdown immobilization unit. I like that. But, you know, I'm okay as long as we do something, tow or get rid of them for the reasons that Lindsay said.
Mr. Wilmot.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept the ordinance changes as submitted, but not including the policy, further consideration of the policy for how it will be implemented at this time.
I second the motion, Mayor.
Have a second. We'll read it over at a second. Is there any other discussion? Before we do that, is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak to council? Council, one more time, anything you want? I'm trying to make sure everybody this process, you guys are worried that people aren't gonna speak. You have an opportunity. You're good? Okay, Ms. Beck, do you need this reiterated or are you good with where we're at?
It's just adoption of the ordinance, because the process is not in the ordinance, so
Okay.
it's just adoption of the
Good.
ordinance.
Please,
So Wilmot,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Knobtrap,
Aye.
Moore,
Nay.
Murphy.
aye, motion passes 4-1. Moving right along. Adoption of a proposed resolution would authorize a 1 month parking citation late fee reprieve period. April, would you like to step forward?
Absolutely.
Please, thank you.
So what we would like to do is offer a 1 month time where the original citation would be available for the violator to pay and then remove all the late fees. So for instance, if someone owed something from 5 years ago and it's up to $230, but it was originally a $25 issued ticket, they would only owe $25. Or if it was something even a few years ago, or whatever it is, if they had 1,000 tickets, they could only pay $10 per ticket if it was for an expired meter violation. So we would waive all the late fees.
How are you contacting these individuals?
We would post it online, press release, put it in our window.
But you're not contacting the
Individual, no, there's,
I don't know if I can support it without contacting the individuals
Yeah, is
because
there any way to do that?
to put it on, pardon? To put it on the wall, many of the people you're gonna try to reach are not contacted through this process.
mhm.
It's a month. How many people do you have that would have to be contacted individually?
Anyone that has had a parking citation in the last 6 years,
How many people are on
Thous-
your list?
thousands
You have
are in it.
1,000 people on your
Mhm.
list.
So we won't even look up
Would it be
their,
more practical to do this invite to a certain level? You have, I know you have a level of these.
Yeah, we saw.
at $100.
Yeah, there are 100 of them that owe 90% of the money, right?
Mhm.
Would it behoove us to contact those 100 with the sake of a letter to those 100 so that we can get them off of our list?
Mhm.
And you don't have, I'm just making a suggestion.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I would support is notify the big people And let's get them off the books.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So it would be the folks that we already look up are $100 or more, and that's why we have their letter. So we could send it to them
Mhm.
at a $78 stamp, or it just went up again. So there's that. The other thing would be anyone on a payment plan, we would also call. I'll call and say, we're offering this for the 1-month period. Come in, save up. And that's why we're hoping it would be like August, when most people have a lot more money right now in the service industry. And then go from there.
I was gonna bring up the people on a payment plan. I think that's very admirable.
Mhm.
I think that's fair because to allow these people to continue to pay ad nauseum
Yep.
versus giving them an opportunity like you are the rest of these people.
Mhm.
Mr. Knobtop.
I agree with you, Mr. Mayor, on some kind of notification, particularly on some of these large ones that we all got bent out of shape with when they were presented. It seemed like we ought to make some effort. If someone has $1,000 or 5,000 or some of these really big ones, we should send a letter to the title owner or the owner of the vehicle.
Absolutely.
Well, Mr. Wilmot.
Yeah, when we contact them, let's say, how much does the typical scofflaw owe? How many thousands of dollars?
Oh, there's not that many with thousands. The majority are a couple hundred. So I ran year to date and we have
Approximately.
25 people with a balance due of $200 or more.
So when you send them the letter saying that this amnesty period is enacted, will it show the calculation for that specific person as to what they would owe versus what they're on the books for currently?
We can print it out and send it to them.
Yeah, because that will bring it down to dollars and cents of
Mhm.
what the opportunity is for them during this window. And the other question that I had was, rather than a 30-day window, maybe a 60-day window, just belt and suspenders, but.
Okay.
Mr. Moore.
So just so I understand, you're thinking that the criteria for outreach, which by the way, I support this individual outreach, would be people who owe what amount and more?
Well, we have the people that owe $100 or more
Okay.
already in our system.
There you go.
So to get down to the onesie, twosies requires us to look up their license information from the Secretary of State.
So,
$100.
so it's doable to do the $100 and above.
Correct.
Do you have an idea about how many people that might be, just rough estimate?
Probably 700.
2,700?
700.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But you gotta remember, it's 78 cents. However, for how many of these people that
Plus.
are gonna pay,
Plus the letter, right? And then the staff to compile that, print it out, and then mail it.
Well, I'd be happy with $200.
That would be too.
It's a doable, it's a week-long project instead of a 4-week-long project.
so 200 is what you're saying?
I would be happy with 200.
How many people over 200? Do you have a sense?
Just counted them.
Well, those are the folks from just the 6 months this year. So if we go back this, because it's a rolling, we have 6 years, a rolling 6-year time frame to make payment. And then civil infractions drop off. So we would go back to 2021.
So it would be more than that you have on that list. It would be more than 200.
Oh, yeah, that's where the estimate is probably 700. But if we go to 200 or something, but a lot of folks that we would have to look up all their new, like if they've moved, they were here, but they haven't had a ticket in 3 years. They've probably moved or something else has happened and they're not going to pay. Just realistically.
Council?
Guess I'm a little confused as to what do we want to do?
What are you considering?
Well,
Mr.
I think we ought to proceed with the 1 month ban or 1 month amnesty. And it ought to be more like a $200 level, not the $100 level.
For notification?
For the notification.
202 months.
2 months is fine. I think it's, what we're trying to do is get rid of all this one time.
Yeah.
And then go on with life and never come back here again. That's-
Please.
somebody else.
Agreed.
Never again. That's a long time.
It is, I know.
Can you live with that?
Absolutely.
Let me make a motion.
Would you make a motion, Ms. Demore?
So I'll make the motion as set forth on page, good question, 68, with the addition that the time period will be 60 days and that there will be individual outreach by letter to offenders with accumulated balances of $200 or more.
Beautiful. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion from Mr. Moore, a second from Mr. Knobtrop. Any public, do you wish to weigh in? Have to do this. Council, any other comments? I go to Ms. Beck for roll.
Demore,
Aye.
Knoctrob,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wilmot,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye. Passes
Thank you.
5-0.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. We have 3 more things and then we're going to do a closed session. There will be no further business coming after that. This next one, it will discuss murals. It's the first reading of a proposed ordinance amending chapter 8 concerning murals. I turn to City Manager Horn.
Thank you, Mayor. So going back a little bit, City Council adopted ordinance 804 back in August of 25, regulating murals. So essentially we took, removed murals from the signed ordinance, placing the review and approval under the Art Commission. Art Commission in their review suggested a change in section, in Article 10, Section 8, 402B, really looking at the use of murals in alleys, using murals involving unpainted brick surfaces in alleys will be considered. That was a change that the Art Commission proposed under Section 8402. So that's the change, and then.
You're good. You're good.
And then adding as well, the property owner, once the mural is approved, once the agreement is signed and received by the city will provide a notice to the property owner that will be posted at the mural site for a period of 14 days in advance of starting the mural project. So this is kind of a amendment to that section 8, 402. And this is a recommendation passed on from the Art Commission.
Mr. Wilmot.
What is the point of posting the agreement 14 days? But I don't understand what.
It's to give surrounding property owners the ability to chime in, I guess, and see if you're a property owner that's next door to a location where a mural is proposed, you have now noticed, you have a notice that this is going on. You can obviously provide any sort of feedback that is a result of that notice. So it's just a.
But in this case,
Communication
the
effort.
approval's already been given.
The approval's been given, but as a property owner that's nearby, you can kind of know what's going on when you see people show up that are gonna be painting.
So it's just know what's going on. It's not an opportunity to object.
I mean, there's always opportunities to object and an appeal, I guess, but the approval at that point would be done, yes.
But the opportunity to appeal is not outlined here.
Do we have a notification?
Yeah, it is.
Murals?
To appeal to this body right here, it's on section 8, number 2, an applicant may appeal a denial to city council within 30 days of the Art Commission's decision.
Not necessarily a neighbor who has concerns.
Could be. I mean, all of our meetings are public meetings that anybody can come out and And.
Do we have notifications like we do with zoning changes, et
No.
cetera? No. Mr. Moore?
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Wilmot here. I think that there should be, I mean, the appeal that is in 8402D2 is an applicant appealing a denial, but there should be an opportunity in advance of approval for
Yes.
neighbors or, I don't know, anybody in the community that might
Okay.
want to give voice to.
We can go back and,
They can always appeal at a public meeting. That's why we have public meetings.
but they don't have a knowledge that that's occurring. Like we have to give this 300-foot notice for activities.
I'm just suggesting that the opportunity for the public to weigh in needs to be earlier in the process prior to, prior to the final decision of the commission, I would think.
Perhaps you have some notification of neighbors within 100 feet of a building or something like that. If that's what you're saying, is that what you're talking about?
I mean, the goal is to try to do more murals, obviously, in town. We don't want to create a process that becomes more bureaucratic and over the top cumbersome, is a good word. We're trying to streamline this to create more opportunities for the public to enjoy these opportunities, but certainly we'll pivot and take the direction as usual.
What's your preference, Mr. Wilma? What are we doing with this one right now? Do you want changes on this? Go ahead.
Was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I never think it's a bad thing to have input from the public. I think that's a good thing. I don't see it as a deterrent, respectfully. So yeah, I think it would be good for people to have notice in advance, in some way, so that they have an opportunity to be heard.
Could I ask a question to help us in drafting a revision?
Please.
Are you anticipating or envisioning a true public hearing at the Art Commission where neighbors are mailed notice and something is published? Or is this just a public meeting that people may have knowledge of? And I just want to make sure that we craft it in the way that you want to see it.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Knobtrop.
This whole notice of notice is a little bothersome to me, is we're delegating the application process to the Art Commission. And I would hate for us to be now pitted potentially against what the Art Commission is saying about a mural and public comment, and we have a room full of people, and it seemed like somewhere in the Art Commission ought to have a notification process.
Agreed.
And not, I don't want us to be in a position to be.
If you want
conflict.
art commissions to notify with process, then we need to have an ordinance of that. We need to have
Yes.
something just like this.
Understood. Now, presumably, this is citizenry in one form or another, coming to the Art Commission and requesting that they do a mural.
Yes.
If that's the case, then I think it would be perfectly appropriate for the Art Commission to have their discussion and their dialogue, and then have schedule a public meeting with notification of nearby neighbors or input before making a final decision.
Okay. All right. Ms. Demore, do you agree?
Well, I was just gonna say, it also under 8402D1, it could be a part of that. They're reviewing the application and design. It could be a part of that. And in response to Councilmember Knobtrop, I wasn't suggesting it would be us. I was suggesting that,
The Art Commission.
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Keep us out of it. I don't want to be in that.
Okay, then we'll send this back
Well, this is the first reading, correct?
Yeah.
What,
We'll send this back for rewriting.
and a second reading?
Are you- Laura, you can go to a second reading if we make those changes?
Sure, I'm entirely clear still on how formal you want that notice process to be at the Arts Commission.
Council,
Isn't it just,
Ms. Walker?
isn't it just covered in section 8402D that prior to installing a mural, the property owner shall apply for review and approval from the City of Petoskey Art Commission? Like it's gonna be in that process. So do you have to add any additional language?
Right, it doesn't require any notice before that approval. The current ordinance only provides for that notice, after it's been approved. So it's really truly a notification that it is happening rather than an opportunity to object before it is approved. So if council wants the Art Commission to provide notice to neighboring property owners before approval, we would need to add language to that effect. And my question is just, are we requiring that to be done by mail, or is this a newspaper publication, or is this a website
Which way you want it
publication?
done?
I think newspaper's fine. I don't think it requires neighborhood letters personally.
I would agree with that.
The other question
Some
is,
good faith effort to let people know that this is going to be on the Arts Commission's agenda. So a public notice on a website is fine with me.
the other possibility would be a posting on the location in advance of the meeting that would say, we're gonna meet on such and such a date, a mural's proposed on this site. I don't know if that's sufficient.
Is the Art Commission kind of geared up to do this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
They have public meetings
That's
and
what we do. We have public meetings every month. Yep.
Every month.
okay, so this is not an added burden to them, really.
And there's public comment involved in every meeting.
I was just gonna say, if you guys choose newspaper, since the newspaper is not local anymore, the deadlines are very tight. So depending on whatever language you guys choose in the ordinance, if it has to be in the paper X amount of days ahead of time, potentially we may not meet that because the deadlines for the paper are tight.
Understood, so that it might extend the decision deadline, the scheduling of a public hearing by 30 days is what you're
Right.
saying. But I also favor Tina's suggestion that some kind of notice be posted at the site of the mural in advance of the public meeting.
We can draft,
What's that, Laura?
we can draft it that way.
You can draft that. Okay.
So you're saying we can move up F higher into the process before it's approved, that we're gonna post it at the mural site for a period of time.
Yes.
And is that sufficient?
Is that
I
sufficient?
would say the notices are also very expensive to put in.
Now, I would say that would be sufficient.
Yeah, thank you.
So notification at the site, out on public right away. If it's an alley,
Frankly, if that's all we did, that would be sufficient for me.
It's going to be their neighbors. All we really want, I agree with you, Charlie. We don't need to overcomplicate this.
Ms. Demore,
Does the Art Commission have an agenda that they issue? in
every
advance?
month.
So that would be available too. There could be a provision in there. There's provision for public comment?
There's a provision for public comment.
Join
If,
remotely.
if it's a mural, it'll state new business, review of mural on 1027 Lake Street, or it'll actually, it's very spelled out in agendas such as this.
So I think the posting in advance would serve the purpose.
Yes, so how much in advance? 30 days?
It's 14.
14
14?
days,
Whatever.
14
days is
days,
fine?
14 days prior to
So
being
if
discussed
I understand
at
it
the-
correctly, that's the only public notice for Laura. That's the only public notice we're looking for is posting, not newspaper.
All right, I've got it.
And it'll be in their agenda.
Yes.
which is posted on city website, just as city council meetings are. You good with having that sent back?
Wonderful.
Will there be a first reading or second reading, Laura?
Reading.
Thank you.
What'd she say? I didn't hear her
Yeah,
either.
can you repeat that?
Second.
Sorry, that can still go to second reading. Those changes are not so substantial that we
Okay,
need a new
thank you.
first reading.
Thank you. Okay. Next is the adoption of a proposed resolution adopting mural policy and guidelines. Turn it over to City Manager Horn.
Yeah, so the policy and guidelines go with, obviously, with the ordinance. Laura and her team did a pretty deep dive on this over the last few weeks. So we're certainly, again, open to your feedback and review at this point.
Questions, Mr. Moore?
So Laura, would the notice provision that we just changed in the other need to be included in here as well?
That's a great question. Let me pull up the policy, because I can't remember offhand.
I think so.
Yeah, it would need
I
to
think
be.
it is.
Yes, it would. need to
Yeah.
be.
Okay.
Yeah, so we could revise that along with the ordinance if you want, and then if there's any other changes as well. And bring that back.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's just me, but I'm having trouble hearing.
Yeah,
It's difficult, Laura, to hear you right now. It
Very-
it
Very
seems a
similar
little,
to what we had last Monday.
Yeah,
there you
I might
are.
need a new computer altogether is what I'm discovering. I've gone through multiple microphones.
Hmm.
Can you hear me better now?
Mhm.
Yeah, a little bit.
Little
When you
better.
first come
All right,
on, it's a little spotty.
Switch computers here in a minute. But yes, we can make that change to the policy. We probably then would want to bring that back next time if we
Yes.
need to rewrite part of it.
Yeah, so just take it up.
So we'll table this to the next meeting. Do I have a motion to
Any-
table?
Anything else while we're doing any changes that you want to highlight?
I'm good. I was good with it.
Okay, do I have a motion to table this?
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Moore, second from Mr. Who?
Wilmot.
Wilmot? Wasn't sure. Any other discussion? Public wish to weigh in? I go to Ms. Beck for roll.
Aye.
Wilmot, Walker.
Aye.
Doctorab,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye. The next one is the adoption of a proposed resolution approving mural application fees.
I move for acceptance of that resolution.
I'll second that resolution.
I have a motion from Mr. Wilmot, a second from Ms.
That's what I
Walker. Discussion, public, discussion, council. Going to Ms. Beck for roll.
Wilmot,
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Doctorab,
Aye.
Murphy.
Motion passes 5-0. Moving to the last item for the public to share with us is the discussion, Michigan Department of Natural Resources and Water Conservation Fund conversion concerning Turcotte Fields. Like, go to City Manager Horn first. Let him get us a summary of it first. Then we'll
Thank
talk.
you, Mayor. So this is just a discussion. I really want to kind of get your feedback. This is a pretty involved process doing these conversions, so I don't want to start down a pathway and then, expend staff time and resources and then not be on the same page as council. So I really wanted to have this discussion about the proposal. Dr. Leslie's here. Thank you for being patient with us this evening. Dr. Leslie reached out to me. I don't know, it's been a minute now, but inquiring about potential land swap of Turcotte Field, which obviously we own on the high school campus with Curtis Field, which the Petoskey school system owns and controls on Standish Avenue. So there's some deed restrictions involved with Turcotte, with the sale of the property from a conversion standpoint. So we'd want to in your packet is the kind of the conversion process. Again, it's fairly detailed. We have gone through this process before. We need to find kind of like for like, if you will, making sure that we, size-wise and value-wise, we're in the same ballpark. So we're familiar with this process, but again, I don't want to start down a certain road and then council, again, not be on the same page. So before we spend a lot of staff time on this, you all are, I'm sure, are aware of some of the history of Curtis Field and some of the maybe deed restrictions that are on there. I'm sure Dr. Leslie can speak to where his legal team is at on clearing the title and or the deed restrictions currently. But that's something that they're moving forward with on their side, trying to do that. If council wants us to move forward with this, we would start the process working with Department of Natural Resources to start the conversion process on our side. And so I guess tonight it's just an open dialogue of any sort of questions you may have, concerns you may have with this sort of thing. And talking with Kendall and Kendall's staff, we think it's a good opportunity for us to pivot away from Turcotte Field. Right now, it's the high school baseball field. We do use it for some travel sports. In discussions with Dr. Leslie, that opportunity would continue. We'd still have the ability to use the field at times that are in between times where the high school is using it. When you look at Curtis Field, it's recreational opportunity for us to expand maybe the offerings from Riverbend Park, and then kind of reimagine what that space could be used for. It's a well-utilized field currently. If you go there on a Saturday afternoon, or just people walking the track on a daily basis, so we would certainly want to maintain that to the high level that the school has done in the past. So we think it's a good win-win scenario on the city side of things. And so if there's questions, feedback, comments, I'm available. Obviously, Dr. Leslie is available as well. So hopefully coming out of tonight, we have clear direction on where you would like us to proceed from this point.
Questions, comments? Miss Walker?
Yeah, I think it's, on the surface, it feels like a pretty good swap. I frequent both facilities. I guess I'm just requesting a little bit more like historical information of the previous Turcotte Field that was located on Charlevoix Avenue. That facility was closed down. Was it purchased by McLaren
That's right.
as part of like their expansion of their massive parking lot that
Yeah.
never gets used ever?
Yep. I believe that sale was, I'm just gonna throw out a round number, like $711,000. $711,000. So we took that money and put it into the Turcotte Field location.
Did you have to bond for the construction of that ball field, or how was that? How was the new Turcotte Field on Northman Drive like funded? How did what did we pay?
We used that $711,000 to build out what's there. I think we got the property from the school for $1, I believe, so that there was no financial commitment to do that. So we put all those monies into building the stadium, if you will. I think there was stuff beyond that. I don't know what the total amount ended up being, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Dr. Leslie, but I don't know if the school committed to a certain amount for restrooms or concession areas, or if that was all city. I mean, I could certainly get that question answered, but
Irregardless.
yeah, that maybe doesn't really even matter at this point, but
The question is this a good deal for the city?
Yeah, as well as like who now it goes from city utilities to the Petoskey Public Schools paying for those. So what were the costs of water and electricity to the city of Petoskey previously now that'll get passed on to Petoskey Public Schools, and the running and the operations of the irrigation systems, the lights and whatnot. And then similar to what the costs of maintenance, I guess, are at Curtis Field for the existing, like electricity and irrigation of the
Right.
system. So
That's-
those are my only
Who
questions.
handles the irrigation right now?
I think that,
The city?
I think that's us, yeah.
So that would transfer over to the schools.
Yeah.
And, is that, you've talked to your board
Yeah.
and they're comfortable with this?
Yeah.
Please,
it'd be good to speak.
Please come up.
Tell us who you are.
Dr. Leslie,
Hey,
Pulaski High School
Hit just the
Superintendent.
microphone so
Yeah,
it turns
public.
green. There you go.
Hey, good evening. First of all, we had our Petoskey Education Foundation golf outing earlier today, and that's why I'm dressed like this, coming to a city council meeting. Otherwise,
Of course, you're all-
otherwise that would not be the case. So, yeah, because I mean, ultimately, kind of, what we're looking to do is just provide better facilities for our, predominantly our girls softball team, and then also our baseball team. That's kind of what was the driving, force behind all this. I mean, our girls softball field, it sits in that really low area, and it's just, the spring sports, they start practicing in March, and then their game start is right after spring break. So our kids, they can't get on those fields until the first game at best. And then they look at the girls soccer and they look at lacrosse that are playing on the stadium turf, and they're able to practice, if it's 35 degrees, so they're kind of looking out the weight room window at these other kids. Well, man, I wish we had something like that where we could actually be outside, practicing and playing. Cause I mean, our fields, like throughout April and May, it's like, tapioca pudding out there. I mean, it's just so wet and it just stays that way. I mean, this time of year, I mean, like once our season's over, those fields are pretty nice, but you get the outfield of the baseball field, and then, we put in some drain tile there at the softball field a couple years ago, and I think that's helped, but I'd rather have some kind of a long-term solution. So that's really kind of what we're trying to get here. And plus, we don't use Curtis Field. We just don't.
Public does.
Yeah, the public does, but as a school district, yeah, I think every now and again, our middle school track kids, they might run down there and practice and whatnot, but
We'd work that out with you, I take
Yeah.
it, that would be,
correct.
it's utilized.
Just like we do on a lot of, I
The
mean.
travel
schools with
soccer,
golf,
they
yeah,
have it once, twice a year, they'd use it for soccer, and I take it.
Right.
The city was gonna, of course, gonna work, and so will you.
right, correct.
Mr. Wilmot, you have a question for?
I think it's a terrific idea. I support it 100%. I do want to know what we're getting out of this deal.
Mhm.
Will all of the deed restrictions be removed, or are we inheriting some baggage here?
I think the only thing that we'd like to keep in place is the fact that it's designated a recreation. I think that's kind of like you talk about Curtis Field.
Yes.
Those are kind of the main stipulations that were given to us, that it has to be used for recreation. And I think we'd like that to continue. So,
You have, I don't know,
That's what
I
I
don't
was-
see
that's what I
anybody
was-
with problems with that. Mr. Knobtrop?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea too. Is there any downside? This is all, we're talking positive. Is there any downside to the city by doing this?
What?
it's probably like some legal costs. I mean, because we've had to bear that too with,
The legal
Curtis Field of just, kind of going through this process. So, we've had to.
You're gonna do that.
Uh,
You're gonna incur that, or are we gonna?
We'll have to go through the conversion process and figure that out. Obviously, they're doing clearing the title and going through that process.
for Curtis Field.
For Curtis, yeah.
So we don't have an estimate yet as to what the cost might be for the city in going through this process.
No, likely we'll need to get a consultant to assist us with this effort. I don't anticipate it being substantial cost. We've been told it's maybe a 6 to 9 month process to go through based on what we've done before, but
Ms. Demore?
So overall, I agree with everybody. This is a good thing, but I have concerns from a legal perspective
Mhm.
about the impact of this reverter clause. I remember from when I served on the school board many moons ago. And I'm hearing kind of two different things. I'm hearing people talking about the title being cleared. And then I think I just heard you saying the reverter clause would still apply. So that's the only kind of sand in my
Oh,
oyster
yeah.
around this. I'm interested to get some clarity about the
Mm-hmm.
impact of that reverter clause. If that would still exist to burden the property with that requirement of recreational use.
Yeah.
And I'm not putting you on the spot, I'm just
Right.
kind of giving you an overview of what.
we really don't have any interest in getting that property back. So, I mean, if we were to swap with the city, so.
No,
I don't
no.
know if I'm misunderstanding what you're asking.
I'm sorry, let me
Yeah.
be more specific. It's my understanding that there's a clause in that document that gave this Curtis Field to the school district
Correct.
that requires reversion back to the Curtis
Right.
family
Right.
in the event of a use that's not prescribed there.
Correct.
That's been researched. There are no
There-
direct living,
right.
direct.
Yeah, there's no heirs remaining from that grant to the
Curtis
Curtis family.
Title.
But you're still working on it because it's being published in the news review.
No, I mean, that part's been done. It's just our attorney said, hey, you need to publish that twice.
Okay.
Just before I think they go to the courts and say, look, here's everything that we've done. So I think that's just part of that legal process to get
So-
it free and clear.
To the best of your understanding, the property would no longer be burdened by that reverter clause? back-
Correct, not back to the Curtis family.
Okay.
So,
Ends.
As long as Laura says it's good, I'm good.
yeah, because I think the last heir passed away in 2012, I think is what they discovered. So,
Thank you.
yep, you're welcome.
The only other costs I can anticipate would be any improvements that we decide to make to the facility, but then that would be in conjunction with any improvements we make throughout the park system, so.
I see that as a long-term thing. Right now, it's
Right.
usable by the public. It'll be, our burden will be to mow it.
Right.
Which is big deal. They'll pick up the cost of, they're gonna pick up the cost up
Turcotte
at
Field.
Turcotte Field for water or electric.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I'll be honest with you, what I want to do is turf it. So that, our kids, they can start practicing on it in March and then build a comparable softball stadium or facility for the girls across the street, because we own the school district owns the property across the street from Turcotte. But
Nice thing about from a timing standpoint is we could incorporate Curtis Field into our parks wide master plan. And get that feedback on that from a long-term planning standpoint. So from a timing standpoint, it really makes a lot of sense.
Mr. Moore.
So along those lines, I'm just curious, are there thoughts already as to how it would be used or?
No, I think what the mayor said, there's nothing broken with it right now. I think we just continue to take care of it, maintain it, use it. Potentially we merge or remove some, the green, arborvitaes that are between. So there's a place where you can just walk to the bathrooms right there. Right now, you can still get to the bathrooms, but you gotta walk through a row of arborvitaes or cedars or whatever they are. So we could open that up a little bit and create it kind of a one park feel to it, but.
And Laura, of course, is gonna have eyes on this whole river.
Yeah, once we get to that point, obviously they'll go through our legal review. Any agreement obviously will be approved by this body as well as the school board. So once we get there, everybody will have their eyes on it.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So I appreciate the discussion.
This is a discussion. There's no motion. There's nothing going on.
Okay.
Keep working on it.
All right. Okay, thanks for everything that y'all do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Last on the,
Public comment?
Oh,
sir. Is that for this thing you want to put? Oh, come on down. Come on down.
My name's Jeff Weingard. I live in Petoskey. And I've been in Petoskey since 1998. In the early 2000s, I started a running club. And the running club ran at Curtis Field. So I thought I'd come here and just tell you what I know, what I've seen. And and I've spent an inordinate amount of time at Curtis Field. I was an assistant track coach and I was assistant cross-country coach. I've worked with I know the coaches at St. Michael who use the track. The college uses the track. So overall, I'm just going to kind of parrot back what you guys have been saying, which I think has been great. Overall, the people that use that track are very, very creative. I've been to 2 birthday parties. I've been to a memorial service, and each had running associated with it. And it's not just running. I think running might be the thing that's done least there. So right now, flag football is being played there by adults, by kids. I see other pickup games, football pickup games being played, Frisbee football being played. I see kids coming back from college, kicking field goals there. I've seen a guy who's playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins in the minor leagues doing sprints there. I wish I had a clicker every time I see somebody at that track. I saw an instructor teaching kids how to box in the infield of that track. So walking's the biggest thing that goes on at that track by far. And I know exactly why, and you know exactly why people walk on that track. It's the safest place in Petoskey to walk. It's a cushioned surface. It's easy on old legs, I know. I saw a week and a half ago, I even get emotional when I talk about this. We were walking on the track, getting ready to run, and there was an old gentleman and his wife walking on the track. And I went up and I talked to him and I said, "How's everything going?" And she had memory issues. And he grabbed her by the arm and they walked down the track together. There's no other place that somebody can do that. I mean, you could go to the college and do that, but you can't do it in the summer, really. There's no better place in Petoskey to do this. And then you said something that I've learned, that, Parks and Rec's going to do a plan and with public input. You don't have to do anything right now.
Right.
You just get the land and people are going to figure out how to use it, and they'll use it respectively. And I love it. It's the best. So I support you 100%. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for waiting.
Yeah.
Anything else? I gotta say, I played football on there over 50 years ago. Scored probably a dozen touchdowns. So,
Can we find any of your teeth in the field?
chunk on my ear or something.
Where's the video?
Yeah, the video.
Thank you.
Fine. Okay, now, moving right along, I did tell you we'd be out of here in 2.5 hours. So we're going to close session. I'm looking for adoption of a proposed resolution that would authorize to adjourn to the closed session pursuant MCL 15.2681E to consult with the city attorney regarding trial and settlement strategies in connection with the pending litigation of Lowell versus the city of Petoskey, U.S. District Court for the Western District of Michigan, case number 125 CV 01027, for the reason that an open meeting would have a detrimental financial effect on the litigation or the settlement position of the city. I entertain a motion.
So moved as set forth on page 97.
Second.
A motion from Mr. Moore, second from Mr. Wilmot. I go to Ms. Beck for roll.
Demore,
Aye.
Wilmot,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Traub,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye. There will be no further business to come before this council after this, so if you're here or online, We will do nothing but closing the meeting following that after public comment by commissioners. Please rise. Oh, my goodness.
Well,
What
I
else?
think we're okay. I mean, it's saying it's still out there on YouTube, see? Reconvened at 8:32. Go ahead, John.
I call this session of city council back in order. I'm going to miss Walker for public comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Very disheartened and disappointed by the state of Michigan Eagles' decision to move forward with Enbridge's a Canadian fossil fuel company decision to support the tunnel. It's been many years of creating awareness around that, direct action, as well as with lots of tribal negotiation. So I know that this will be a continuing source of protecting our water and our land for many generations. So I'm a little disheartened by the whole thing, but still keeping the faith because I love the place where I live and I know that many of us are invested in protecting a legacy of clean water.
Ward 3, Mr. Knobtrop.
I attended the Curtis Park picnic this last week, and I, much against my introvert tendencies, and I overcame those slightly with the encouragement of the mayor, helping me to introduce myself to these other people that were there. So I appreciate your support for this little old introvert.
Thank you for the comment. Mr. Wilmot, Ward 2.
Yeah, the only comment that I have is in the foreseeable future, we will be receiving from the Planning Commission their recommendation for a new zoning ordinance. And last I heard, the zoning ordinance the new zoning ordinance, draft zoning ordinance in its current form is nearly 150 pages long. And we have recently had experience with a 10-page document that took us multiple partial sessions plus a full session. And we need to be thinking about the process that we want to use to evaluate and consider what the Planning Commission is going to be recommending because it will be cumbersome. And the question that I have is, will it take special meetings that we should be thinking about now? Or will we be able to integrate it into our already jam-packed agendas? Just a thought for future consideration.
Ward 1, Ms. Demore.
I second Mr. Wilmot's thoughts and concerns. Just one request that as possible, we get updates from the city manager on the non-motorized plan effort updates as they occur, so the public will be aware of those as well. Thank you.
You know, you guys asked what's involved here with some of this stuff. Last a week ago, Wednesday, I participated in a Declaration of Independence reading at Pennsylvania Park on a Wednesday at 6 o'clock. I introduced the speaker and gave a little spiel. That was done by over 1,500, I believe, cities and municipalities across the country at that time at 6 o'clock. We had an Arts Commission meeting where we are working to formulate stuff to bring back to you. I participated, I went into saw Shane, we're there at the Delray Hotel ribbon cutting. Participated, went to George Courthauer's memorial. Attended the Curtis Park picnic. It was great to see Councilman Knobtrop there as he interacted greatly, had great interactions with his constituents. Participated in the negotiation with Dr. Lowe with, again, Mr. Knobtrop. There's more. Where's number 6? Oh, I met with Brett Bolin with Shane. And I think that's about it. Yep, that's it. No further business coming for this council. I call this meeting adjourned.